Alright, a soldier. Now we're gonna see some action.
My first impressions of Hunt Down The Freeman Classic were that it was just going to be some shitpost mod. Something like the Half-Life 2 beta minimalist mod, where it's just a bunch of jokes kind of strung together by some levels that are just flat and angular. And to my surprise, it ended up being a surprisingly good mod in its own right. Somehow recreating the features of Hunt Down the Freeman in the Goldsrc engine from the late 90s, that now features iron sight sprinting parkour and other stuff, other lauded features from Hunt Down the Freeman. It's incredible what was accomplished. It doesn't even feel like it's made to be like a parody, even if it is. It feels like a tribute of sorts, or an expansion of what the game could be as its development continues, and as the current team on it revises it further. The Operation Whiskey Freedom development cycle's done a lot of good for Hunt Down the Freeman, but it still has a big PR issue to overcome, so I get why there's still this perception of it being an awful game. And the story, you can only do so much with it. It's always going to have that cringy but endearing element. But Hunt Down the Freeman Classic just kind of rolls with it, using the sort of janky nature of the Goldsrc engine to its advantage, and it ends up being a very fun experience. One that I've replayed twice. I'd probably want to play it again, and I would highly recommend it, actually. So, if you've heard about Hunt Down the Freeman, then you know the story, and by extension you know the story of Hunt Down the Freeman Classic. Sergeant Mitchell, a member of the HECU, is sent in to cover up the Black Mesa incidents by silencing the people responsible for it. But disaster strikes. He finds a lot of his squad dead, and he is confronted by a guy in an HUV suit who beats the ever-loving crap out of him with a crowbar. On death's door, Mitchell is confronted by none other than the G-Man himself, who's impressed by his ability to survive and determination to get revenge. So the G-Man offers him a deal, a chance to survive, and eventually get his revenge on the man responsible for messing up his life and his face. But to do that, he's going to need to survive not just the immediate aftermath of Black Mesa, but the invasion of the Combine, another alien race drawn in by the end of Half-Life 1 and the portal storms that followed. So, the first part of Hunt Down the Freeman Classic, the current demo for it, is set during a special version of Act 1, where it's mostly accurate to how the original game was, but the prologue in Black Mesa is expanded on, and there are some variations to the setting of Albuquerque and the escape from the city. So instead of going to Nevada and everything, it's just solely focused on Black Mesa and then Albuquerque. And surprisingly, it does a lot with those two settings. The expansion of Black Mesa really builds up the enemy types, the different scenarios you're in, encounters, while keeping some of the jankier but endearing elements of the 2018 Hunt Down the Freeman build. So you still have the weird blue camouflage that Mitchell and his squad wear, the MP5 SD with the scope and other stuff like that. But at the same time, you've got unique scenarios like the Black Mesa security team fighting back against you, and actually fighting against the Black Ops soldiers, both the male and female ones, plus different aliens from Zen that don't normally appear. And on top of that, there are a lot of headcrab zombie variants. A lot of the enemies in the mod are headcrab zombies, but it more than makes up for that with the sheer variety of them that you face. So instead of just the usual ones that are like the slow-moving zombie scientist guys, there are a lot more types you can encounter. Even the regular ones are better at melee combat and are tougher to just run up to, swing at a few times, and then retreat. They've got surprisingly good reaction speeds for fighting back. And on top of that, killing the host without killing the head crab causes them to jump off and attack you, just like in Half-Life 2, and like the planned feature in Half-Life 1 that never quite made it into the final build. Topping that off, you've got the fast zombies and poison zombies from Half-Life 2, along with their headcrab variants. You've got special Zombine-like National Guard zombies that will sort of run at you with grenades if they've taken enough damage, which is pretty shocking, because that's a new addition to Hunt Down the Freeman. That was added in only the recent developer updates to it. So it seems like the people making the mod, like, they know their stuff. They're involved, or at least they're paying close attention to these different builds coming out, because that's a surprising attention to detail. There are also scientist zombies that throw syringes at you that deal damage, and other variants like a cop or security guard zombie that's still carrying a pistol that will occasionally go off and potentially damage you. And there are more variants to both civilian and soldier characters you can encounter. You can encounter some police and security allies in the Albuquerque sections to show just how deteriorating things are and how you need all the help you can get getting through the alien-infested city. The soldiers are sort of like a mix of the Hunt Down the Freeman designs with the opposing force designs. And this includes like the medics and the regular soldiers. I don't know if the engineers are there. I don't remember them like needing... I don't think there's a part where you specifically need an engineer, but there are sections where they'll cut open doors and unlock doors and stuff. And even Adam from Hunt Down the Freeman's there, along with Nick at the very end, but Adam plays a role as like a companion with a sniper rifle, which is pretty cool. And again, just shows the dedication that the creator has in rebuilding the game in an older engine while still keeping the features intact. Speaking of the features, the game has like a sprint meter to show you how much you can continue running. It's not infinite like in Hunt Down the Freeman. Along with this is like a speed counter to show like what your max speed is, how fast you're going when moving, so on and so forth. And you can also do parkour on certain environments. It's not as easy to determine which ones are which, but like you can climb up them like ladders and stuff. You don't need a specific button to press like in Hunt Down the Freeman, the regular version. And on top of all of this, there's secrets hidden around the different levels in the campaign. Like, you can find a secret room in the canals. It's like this special photo booth. You can find a certain character from GTA complete with an AK that's probably going to be in Acts 2 and 3 whenever they come out within Hunt Down the Freeman Classic. And there are some crates, like some destructible objects that can be destroyed with enough firepower or knife swings that will allow you to progress through certain parts of the stage and skip entire sections. I didn't even figure that out to my second playthrough, and I thought that was really cool. And, like, it shows that, like, oh, if you want to skip ahead, you can, or you can play through the campaign as it's intended. that sort of replayability goes a long way. It just shows how much thought was put into this, which, again, I did not expect at all. The night vision goggles features there, that was an opposing force, but it's also implemented here. Some of the guns from opposing force return, even the ones that aren't in Hunt Down the Freeman, like the M249 and Desert Eagle. It's funny, because the M249 is actually a requested gun on the Discord, but I don't know where it would really fit, since the minigun kind of fits that bill. There are also some guns that are sort of made up of existing Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 guns, like the AK, which looks like the Half-Life 2 League AK, the MP5 SD, which is the regular, the standard definition MP5 with a scope added on, and you can actually use the scope when you're aiming, because there's an aim down sights option whenever you right click, and surprisingly this comes in handy, even more so than the original Hunt Down the Freeman. I found that guns are not overly accurate beyond close range without aiming, so it does good to aim down the sights, and the sights are pretty straightforward and not obstructive. So it's beneficial to be using them outside of like close range, like a few bodies away from melee range. And the sniper scope even like has it's sort of a dual render approach. It looks like it, at least. It tries to mimic that look, which is even cooler, honestly. And some useful weapons return from the original Half-Life, like the satchel charges and trip mines. So there's a lot. And this is on top of the unique enemy types that show up, like the custom ones made for it, some of the special combined synths, the robotic ones from Hunt Down the Freeman Act 1, they appear. It's something else. Like, even the bull squids are given a retexture to look like the Half-Life 2 beta ones. It just blew me away how much was worked into this. And the shotgun from Hunt Down the Freeman returns in this, and it is shockingly useful. Like, probably my favorite weapon out of all the bunch. I had a blast with it. Like, I can't stop gushing about it. The mod took me about an hour and a half my first playthrough and about 50 minutes of my second playthrough. Overall, I enjoyed both times. The story goes from the expanded prologue to a slightly abbreviated but slightly expanded on Act 1, where there aren't like the desert driving sections or anything like that. There isn't a ship section, but it goes to the part in the train station. I'm excited to see where the mod goes from here, especially with the potential to adapt the rest of Act 1 or the other acts, or to even maybe expand on some stuff that we missed out on in the process of the story, like maybe a Gordon Freeman boss battle. And yeah, I know that because of the way the story plays out, that technically it isn't needed, but I mean the game is called Hunt Down the Freeman, and it would have worked well as like an optional boss or an Easter egg. I mean, the title's there, it's begging for a chance to happen. That would have been neat to have a unique encounter with him. Maybe in a similar way to the battle in Dusk, where you're fighting Jacob and he has like a similar moveset to you. So he's like bunny hopping around the level, using explosives to catch you off guard. A fight like that would be fun. We'll see. I mean, even as it is, the mod went above and beyond and delivered a fantastic experience when it didn't even have to. So thanks for tuning in to this enthusiastic overview of Hunt Down the Freeman Classic. The demo number 6 is the one out now, and it is very good. I look forward to eventually playing the rest of the mod. Hopefully the next demo will feature either the rest of Act 1 or maybe even some of Act 2. I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks for tuning in, and hope you all have a great day. Take care.
Keeping you in one piece is proving to be quite a challenge.